Oh, we're live.
Yes.
Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline. Devin Shea, Matt No Show Harkins. Forgot to tell legendary John the Tiger Kiger that we were on air. This is a live show. Verizon 32 everywhere. Comcast 7 only in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us. We appreciate it. I have some promos here, but we won't do that yet. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. We got Chip the Prophet Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier, and Zach Brenner. The guys have a little bit of spring fever. Smoking Jim said, you guys aren't wearing any jackets today. And I don't know what he meant by that, but we're going to talk a lot of sports here, and we'll be getting into that in a second. First, I want to thank my friends at Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Call them up, 412-831-1900. Not only did they take care of Zach Brenner and Chip Hayner when they held down the fort, thanks fellas, they got all pepperoni pizza. Then tonight, they had Alexis come out. Before I even got out of the car, she gave the pizza. I just opened it. Ryan, thanks for that slice of delicious pepperoni pizza.
There you go. Nothing's too big for Alan.
Yeah, so that was delicious. Thanks for that sponsor. Then I want to announce that we have a sponsor. If you can get a close-up of that, John the Tiger Kiger. That's now you can get it. I don't see it. That Z-Dog told me I could see it. Oh, there we go. Thanks to Skeets at Skeets Service Station. You can read this. They're on 6103 Route 88, Finleyville. It's only about 5 miles from here. 724-348-4715. They are now that was a nice close-up of me, guys. Live TV. He's our first sponsor of What's on Your Mind on location. So every time we're on location, you're going to see Skeets Service Station. So thank you very much. We appreciate the proud sponsor of Pittsburgh Sportsline. Now, my friend mentions us all the time.
When you say us, you mean you?
Well, it's ubiquitous. Pittsburgh Sportsline, Al Levine, and all of my co-hosts there. Some have ego problems, and you guys have watched the show more than once. You know that. You're not watching it enough on YouTube because there's a big bearded guy that tells me it's all about him. And you'll see him later. And last week I watched the show all the way through. Then I watched to see how many YouTube hits we had. We had 3 less than the week before. So there you go. But Johnny
Good
Angel, wait a second, buddy, you interrupted. Johnny Angel in the Halos has the Ginchie shop on California Avenue. Check out all the memorabilia he has, sports and everything else. He mentions us, me and Smoking Jimbo, every Sunday night because I listen in. And Pittsburgh Sportsline mentions our show. So if you would tune in on the Carolina Breeze and call in on his Ginchie phone, maybe you'd get some more publicity. Now, Bethel Park has a great raffle. We're trying to get guys like the Tiger to further their education. We have the Bethel Park. If you could just line that up. Should I move again?
Mm-hmm. Up and
Okay.
down.
Is that good?
Man.
All right, this is the Weber Grill. $650 Weber Grill donated by Evie Hardware. Check it out. They have $1 raffle tickets there at the library. And where else? A couple other places. Total cooling area is on this. Okay, wrong thing. Well, anyhow, it's a $1 ticket. We're selling them like crazy. Devin Shea's beaten me in the sale so far, and I'm a little disappointed. If you see me wandering about, just ask for a ticket. Please, I need help. Now, we got another fundraiser here in Bethel Park. If you could get this, see if you can get the whole thing. Now, this is what they call a designer bag bingo. $25 a ticket for all of you ladies and some of you guys that like bingo. Come on out. You can win a designer bag and give it away and re-gift it. These bags are Coach. What is it? There's a couple others, Dooney and Bork.
Burke.
Burke? Okay, I don't know him. Vera Bradley. So we got a bunch of great things. There'll be 10 games. This will be on Friday, May 8th. So stay tuned to what we do. There's raffle tickets, snacks, refreshments, all by Sid West Catering. Thanks to them. Tickets are available at EV True Value Hardware, Bethel Park Public Library, of course, BPTV Station. Come in bug Dave Cable for these $25 tickets. I want to see him sell more than 3. So thanks a lot. That's the promos. Let's start with what's on our mind. This segment isn't sponsored, so if you want to sponsor, give me a call. Zach Brenner, what's on your mind besides Tuesday night's live show where you're the star and everybody's watching us on YouTube? Okay, that was it for Zach. He's actually boosted up our ratings by not saying anything. Smoking
so.
Jim Frazier,
I thought so.
what is on your mind?
Want to try this again, folks? I was taking all those notes, man. We had that lovely home shopping channel. We got bags and grills and all kinds of stuff and cheap things.
Everybody on this panel has bought tickets. So I'm proud of you guys for supporting BPTV and the scholarship fund in the area.
For the record, folks, I would like my 10 tickets that Devin Shea conned me into buying going towards Levine's total in sales to help boost Team Levine.
It's too late. It's too late. He already told Dave Cable he sold 30 tickets. But I didn't want to tell him I sold 50, so.
Ooh.
And I even let him have sales last night that he stole off of me in the control room. All right, let's get to sports.
Let's get to sports, folks. On tonight's show, what's on Little Z's mind tonight, folks, is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. I feel now that they've inked up Big Ben to big money and an extended deal that's pretty much going to guarantee that Roethlisberger is going to retire a Pittsburgh Steeler. There's more pressing issues to get to now, and hopefully Smoking Jim's doing his due diligence in the film room and looking for some great picks, because I tell you what, this is going to be one of the most crucial drafts that Tomlin has ever had to experience as head coach since he came into the NFL, and I'm going to tell you why. There's never been more pressure on this coach now. You've made all the changes that you wanted to now. You got rid of LeBeau. You got rid of the genius and shipped him out west. You got rid of everybody that you wanted to get rid of now. You brought in all your character guys. You got Joey Porter now roaming the sidelines now. So now what I'm also a little bit concerned about, folks, tonight is that what kind of message does it send by re-signing Debo, James Harrison? You know what message that sends me? That Smoking Jim Frazier's been right about one thing, and that's number 95. Jarvis Too Slow Jones was a waste. He's a bust, and I think we might as well just cut ties with this man now, because we're going to be drafting linebackers again for how many straight years in a row is that? And like I said, tonight, folks, one of the most crucial drafts in the Kevin Colbert, Mike Tomlin era is coming up in May, and that's what's on my mind tonight, folks.
Good job, Zach.
Thanks, Zach. Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green, you got to see Levine. Hey, what's on my mind is now I got another Spotlight Player of the Week, and we're looking at maybe the 4th or 5th round for this young man. And the Pittsburgh Steelers still have a bit of problems on their offensive line. But,
You win.
you know, I'm looking at this young man as a guard. Not too many people have ever heard of him. Ollie Marpitt. And he played at little tiny Hobart College in New York. He's a Division III All-American. He's 6'4", 310 pounds. He runs the 40 and 4.92, which is outstanding for a guy that size. The Pittsburgh Steelers like to pull their guards. He can play center or guard, but I'm looking at him as a pulling guard. DeCastro did a pretty decent job last year pulling. And this is a guy that can do it too. Super strong. He bench presses 25 pounds for 30 reps, which is very impressive. And like I said, this is a guy in the 4th or 5th round area. They can get a steal and maybe have a Pro Bowler in the future. So remember that name from tiny Hobart College.
Say that name again, because Chief might be eating dessert and missed that. Thanks, Chief, and everybody else watching the show. Chip the Prophet Hainer, what's on your mind?
Well, what Smoking Jim was just talking about just struck a chord with me, because the Steelers ended up being awarded another 7th-round draft pick this year. They will get the 252nd pick in the draft.
Nice.
Which earns the name of Mr. Irrelevant, isn't that it? When
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Ali could just be him. The other thing I've been in reference to the Steelers is Mike Tomlin has been conspicuous by his silence since the wild card loss in January to the Baltimore Ravens. And it was really warmed my heart to hear him talking to the media again today. Didn't he go ahead and use the word obviously 6 times in one sentence?
Are you kidding? 6 times. He's in season form.
Obviously. But what's on my mind is, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here in the last 2 weeks of spring training, and I'm really looking forward to this upcoming Pirates season. And it's been so long since I've heard the voices of the haters regarding the Pittsburgh Pirates, and it just kind of made me think. Makes me want to express my opinions about the Pirates. I think this Pirates team going into this season has as good a chance as any team in the major leagues to go all the way. And as a matter of fact, Buster Olney, ESPN's baseball expert, went as far as to say that he picked the Pittsburgh Pirates to win the World Series this year against the Seattle Mariners. And, that just kind of confirms what I already believe. But, I was involved in a conversation last week, and somebody came out, and I haven't heard this in a while, and they said that the Pirates are never going to amount to anything as long as Bob Nutting owns that team because he's so cheap, he won't spend any money. And I just think that, they're just going on and on. And I think making a statement like that in regards to Bob Nutting and the Pittsburgh Pirates only displays your ignorance. And by making that statement, you might not even know the definition of the word ignorance, and I would ask you to look it up in Alan's Funkin' Wagnalls here. Maybe you can see that I'm insulting you. But anyhow, Bob Nutting has done nothing less than save the Pittsburgh Pirates franchise and kept it here in Pittsburgh. When he took over the team, it had a horrible record. It had about 17 seasons of consecutive losing. The first 3 years, he continued to lose while he rebuilt the farm system, invested a lot of money in the farm system that didn't show much in the major league level until the last couple of years. And now we've got a team that no longer has to wonder if they can win or what does it take to win. They know they can win. They belong on a winner's platform. This year we've got a team that's grown up together, homegrown talent, and they're as good as any team in baseball. And I'm very much looking forward to this season, watching the Pirates win the Central Division and move forward in the playoffs. And, I know that the first time they hit a three-game losing streak, my good friend Zach Brenner over here is going to take me to task, and that's okay because that's some of the spice that keeps people coming back and watching our humble little show. But the only other thing I got to say, let's go Bucks.
What a surprise. I've always been a Pirate fan, and early in the spring training and even over the winter talks, the optimism runs wild. So I try to temper it with a little reality, like people get all excited about the spring training. It's practice. It's glorified practice. They even have tie games.
Yep.
So if you guys want to post all the stuff you do against or for it, just hold off a little. I know you're getting in shape to do it, but that's not what's on my mind. Here's what's on my mind, the Steelers. Zach Brenner must have been reading my mind, which doesn't happen very often, but he did in this case.
He reads?
Well, he doesn't do that because I asked him about a post if he saw it. It was something to read. I said, you liked it. He goes, I didn't read it. But anyhow, getting back to the point.
When Smoking Jim does it, it's fun. When I do it, I can't read.
He's uneducated.
Hey, I can read better than Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, but Smoking Jim's uneducated. After 8 years at Cal U, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. No. You just said a key thing. He went to college. He didn't even know the colors of his school when we met a young lady wearing a T-shirt.
I'm good with power tools. He's good with a typewriter.
I forget what's on my mind, but the Steelers. Tomlin, by being quiet, they could have been classy with, all this Troy stuff. They still haven't been. Who cares about the money? Just have some class. They know how to do it. They're billionaires because of us. They're billionaires because of their grandfather gambling on horses. Yes, he gambled on horses and he won. So you're no better than anybody else. You breathe the same air. So come clean on that. Just say you're going to work it out with Troy. The Troy era is done. We know that. The handwriting's on the wall for numerous reasons. From his play to how many concussions he's had to money. But what bothers me is they signed James Harrison. He's a 37-year-old guy. He had 3 good games, and those were all his stats. Now everybody's going crazy that he's a savior. He's going to mentor somebody. What he is a tour mentor. He has not mentored anybody. He couldn't even go see the President of the United States because he said he was going to go. He couldn't fly. And then he's been on planes. So there's no way it's going to happen. Can he play a few good games? Yes. But we didn't need to have all this drama out there about him. What it shows me is a lack of talent, because if a 37-year-old can come in and start, who else is there, whether it's too slow or whatever else you want to say? And then Brett Kiesel, why didn't we keep him? Because he's a better mentor than James Harrison will ever be. And that's what's on my mind.
Great job. That was good.
Just two observations. I believe the reason why Kiesel's not playing is because of his the recovery from the injury, and I don't believe he'll be able to play.
Right.
And who was the best outside linebacker for the Steelers last year?
Worlds.
Not.
I understand, but that's a bad state of affairs.
It is a bad state of affairs.
We're used to higher standards, and I haven't heard the standard is the standard for a couple years now.
Obviously.
Well, exactly. and that's what I'm waiting for. When the standard is back, then we'll have a winning team again throughout the year, but we're not there yet. So we're going to go to some of our segments. And Smokin' Jim Frazier, are you ready for Fiction and Fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac?
Yes, sir. Ready to read.
Let me see.
Thanks,
I'll read that for you.
Thanks, Alameda, the talking machine. And my fiction and fact is today is centered around Iron Mike Manna. And, back in the day, Billy Kahn fought Fritzy Zivik, and both of them were world champions, and they both are native of Pittsburgh, and they fought at the Duquesne Gardens, and it was sold out, and there was 3,000 people that couldn't get in, and they rioted in the parking lots and in the streets. And last year in the Golden Glove Championship, heavyweight Mike Manna was supposed to fight very popular John Doyle. And everybody came out to see that fight that night. And John Doyle, of course, very popular. One reason he's a Gateway football grad, and the other reason he's got a great right hand as well. And
that helps in the ring.
Yeah, and for some reason, Mike Manna had to work that night and didn't show up. And I thought the fans at the event last year at the Golden Glove Championships was going to riot because of that, because everybody came to see the big heavyweights get it on. Well, this year in the Donnybrook, which Al Levine, the talking machine, and I attended, Mike Manna fought the captain of the Ireland team. And this is a guy that had over 100 fights. His name was Jim Sweeney. He was slick, little Z. He was a guy that can move. He was a southpaw. And for 2 rounds, he lit Mike Manna up. I don't know what was keeping Mike up, but he kept coming forward.
Lack of power.
He wasn't hurt at all. And right before the 3rd round, Al Levine, the talking machine, and Chip, they started playing Renegade that fires up the Pittsburgh Steelers audience and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Mike Manna came tearing across the ring. He throws an overhand right and completely knocks Jim Sweeney out. The crowd went crazy. It was going to be a victory for Team Pittsburgh. Tell him what Mike did. And Mike jumps up on the ring ropes, and he's all excited. Well, the referee, who happens to be from Ireland, what was his name, Griffin?
Ed Griffin.
Ed Griffin.
His name will live in infamy in Pittsburgh.
He counted to about 20. And finally, Jim Sweeney gets up, and kind of spits out his mouthpiece, or somehow his mouthpiece got out of his mouth. And they walked Sweeney over to his corner to rinse it off, and gave him literally about 45 seconds. And Mike Manna lost a split decision. And afterwards, you know, Al Levine, the talking machine, is fearless. He goes over to Sweeney and he says, "Hey, you know you got knocked out." And I laughed. I couldn't stop laughing. But yeah.
He didn't deny it.
That's fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. And that's what's on my mind.
So Samaz, you're saying that Mike Manna got rubbed. The man was out.
Not to surmise.
The Irish referee bought him time and got him, you know, coherent enough to continue on the fight. And
well, all you have to do is compare to, and during the fight telecast, I was fortunate enough to do some color that night.
Were the judges Irish?
And I actually compared. Compared it. Yeah, I actually compared that to Jack Dempsey and Tunney.
Yeah.
Gene Tunney.
That's a
Gene
great
Tunney
analogy.
had about 15 seconds, and you know, because that was the first fight ever that you were supposed to go to a neutral corner, and Jack Dempsey didn't know that, and he stood over Tunney, and Tunney.
Well, he was a little punchy from being concussed so many times.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
And those fighters all were back then. Because sometimes they put other things in those gloves.
No, they didn't call that concussed. They called it being punch drunk. Punch drunk,
okay.
Yes.
Couldn't sue anybody. Couldn't sue anybody for punch drunk.
They didn't know what that was. Cauliflower ears, nose busted up. Yeah, he got robbed. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. I counted just myself that it was 14 seconds. Wow. When I saw the video again, he went one. It was like when you play football, 1,001, 1,002, and that's much quicker than, you know, or they do a count much quicker than that.
Yeah.
Normally. Plus, if you look at the film, it's like he helped poor unconscious Jim while he was there. He was definitely out. He admitted as much. He was unconscious. Mike Manna will be on our show next Monday.
Did that fight, had Manna won that fight, would that have shifted?
It would have changed the whole complexion of it.
Yeah, yes. Would have won. Pittsburgh would have won with that fight.
Oh, man.
Darn. Yeah, that's what happened. Mike was so disappointed. And what shows you, Mike would have never jumped in the corner on the ropes if the guy weren't out. And he was out.
Yeah.
So and Mike was so disappointed he immediately got on a plane and flew to Mexico.
Well, that's neither here nor there. The fight's over, and that's how it was. And the boys will be going to Ireland on July 4th, supposedly.
That's a rumor.
Well, everything's a rumor in boxing until it happens. Just like, isn't Mayweather fighting? Yeah, he is.
That's going down, man.
All right, let's go to some Chip and his trivia time.
Well, thank you, Alan. And my trivia this week is got a little basketball flavor to it, and in honor of the NCAA tournament, and also wanted to make a mention of the state basketball high school championships. And unfortunately, 4 local teams came up short this past weekend. Aliquippa lost their first game of the season against Conwell Egan, 62-51 in the AA game. The AAA game, the 3 girls teams made it to the finals. Seton LaSalle made it to the finals for the 3rd year in a row. The team that they beat last year, Newman Goretti, they lost to in the finals this year, 79-34. They got taken out behind the woodshed and spanked pretty good. Blackhawk won their 2nd straight title. They defeated Archbishop Wood. So the Blackhawk girls, congratulations to them. And the Vincenton girls defeated Old Forge for the single A title. Now, in researching the high school basketball scene, I read a statistic where District 12 in Philadelphia won all 4 boys titles, quad A, triple A, double A, single A, this year. That's the first time that's ever happened. A district has won 3 championships 7 times, and the WPIAL has done it 3 times, 1992, 1995, and in 2004. So, the eastern side of the state, they've got the ballers on that side of the state. But, there's always next year. Also in my trivia this week, I discovered that there is only 1 basketball coach that has won an NBA title and an NCAA title. That would be Larry Brown. He won the 1988 NCAA championship for the Kansas Jayhawks and the 2004 title with the Detroit Pistons. I know some people may not know this. I know that my friend Alan does, his father being a basketball coach all those years. But the NIT tournament used to be the major tournament, long before the NCAA tournament came along. Well, I found an interesting statistic here from the 1945 NIT tournament. George Mikan, who is a basketball Hall of Famer, for DePaul University, he scored 53 points in a game against Rhode Island. The score of the game was 97-53. DePaul beat Rhode Island. George Mikan scored as many points as the other team did himself.
Wow.
That is
He was a big guy.
that's an amazing statistic. Also, in the NCAA tournament, the very first triple-double scored in the NCAA tournament was probably one of the greatest basketball players of all time, Oscar Robertson. The Big O, 1959, first triple-double in the tournament history, 39 points, 17 rebounds, 10 assists. And he didn't even do this in the championship game. He did this in the third-place game against Louisville. Next up, the first NBA player to score 1,000 points in 14 consecutive seasons. Can anybody make a guess at who that might be?
Chamberlain.
Okay, Zach, you got a guess or no?
I would say Will Chamberlain.
John Havlicek of the Boston Celtics.
Wow.
There you go. Nobody would have guessed.
No, I wouldn't have guessed it. He's a great player.
Yeah, he was a great player. I remember watching him when I was young for Red Auerbach's team when they were winning NBA champions. Yeah. There's 3 players in the NBA that have won 3 MVPs consecutively. One of them was Bill Russell. The other one was Wilt Chamberlain. And the third is one of my friend Jim's favorite basketball players, Larry Bird. And
you slipped that in pretty quick on him.
yeah, and then there's 4 NBA players with 3,000 blocks in their career. Number 1 is Hakeem Olajuwon with 3,830. Second would be Dikembe Mutombo, 3,289.
Couple brothers.
Then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with 3,189. And one of the top 4, you'd never guess, but a Caucasian gentleman named Mark Eaton blocked 3,064 shots in his NBA career. He didn't do much else.
I can't believe that.
Wow.
But, that's their statistics. And also, on one last note, March the 23rd, 1974. It was a record-setting day because that was the day that UCLA's streak of 7 consecutive NCAA titles ended. UCLA was beaten in double overtime, 80-77, by North Carolina State. And the star of the game was David Thompson, 28 points, 10 rebounds. And I was talking to Jim about this before the show. And if anybody does remember, David Thompson was one of the most amazing basketball players to ever play the game. He was Dr. J before Dr. J became famous. He was Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan ever probably picked up a basketball. He was such an amazing basketball player. He lit up the scoreboards in the ABA. And unfortunately, he had drug problems, and that cut his career short. He did play for a short while in the NBA after he got cleaned up, but he was just a shell of his former self. But there you go. That's my basketball trivia for this week, and March Madness is still running wild.
Yeah, David Thompson played high on and off the court.
We were waiting for Smoking Jim's insights. He never misses a
Foreman grill
low blow.
smoking.
He never misses that low blow.
Never.
100% undefeated. All right, it's time for Z time. Zach, what do you got under Z time?
Well, hopefully nobody changed that dial, but now it's Z time. And still don't change that dial.
They just
We're going to
did.
give a shout out to
Click, click.
to 100% violence fighter Rich Catalina. Huge fan and guest of Pittsburgh Sportsline. Went over to Ohio and did something that we do well coming from the great state of Pennsylvania. Took another championship from Ohio and brought it back to the city of Pittsburgh. So give a shout out to Rich Catalina. Thanks, Levine, for that inspiring clap. I'll take that to heart. Big shout out to Lightning.
You didn't mention
Salka.
Pittsburgh Sportsline's karma.
Yes,
Brought him another win plus hard work. He's in great shape. Plus, he's an engineer, and he can read.
Wow.
Thanks, Z.
Okay. That remains to be seen. Some of those things might be more fiction than fact. The part about reading.
Right from the gentleman that graduated from college with an engineering degree.
Smoking Jim graduated too, so what does that mean?
Not in engineering. Basket weaving. Remedial math.
No,
Egyptian historical studies. I looked at his transcripts.
In all seriousness,
Basket weaving too.
Right now, I'm gonna make an appeal right now, Smoking Jim Frazier, to your old alma mater. If any of you gentlemen get kicked off the team at California University, you come to me or Smoking Jim Frazier or Elevated Talking Machine. The Pittsburgh Gladiators would love to have you. I'm all about second chances. Let it be known that if you want to come be a gladiator and you get kicked off the Vulcans, you come see me. And we'll make that happen. Also, it doesn't stop there, folks. We're also reaching out in God's country to Gateway. Any Gators, if you get kicked off the team and you are homeschooled and you don't no longer want to pursue your educational needs, you come on down and join the Pittsburgh Gladiators. We'd love to have all the Gators we could possibly get a part of the team. Now that we got Smoking Jim Frazier on board with player personnel. That's a huge.
The director of player personnel.
So now we need some players, Smoking Jim, that I can mold into the next.
Hey Zach, I got to interrupt you 1 second with a serious question. Are you going to have cheerleaders?
Well, then that sounds to me like I'm going to have to appeal once again to Smoking Jim Frazier, and he'll be the director of the cheerleading department. And I'm guaranteeing between him and Billy Boyce and company, man, they could put together some kind of package. I'm not talking a dental package, but maybe some kind of package for
entertainment.
For entertainment value on the sidelines of a Pittsburgh Gladiators game. We're hoping to kick the season off at the end of April 29th. So we're still working out the final details of the schedule, folks. But with Levine, Frazier, and Brenner, you're gonna have fireworks, folks. And hopefully, like I said, Smoking Jim could get out there and pound the streets and get me some talent to put on the field. So that's a little bit of Z time. I was interrupted by Levine when I was talking about our good friend Lightning Rod Soka, who will be fighting on a Frank Luca card down at the Meadows on May 16th. So. I love the enthusiasm of that clap, Levine. I really do.
Because it's sincere.
It is. I feel
Rod's
it.
the man.
I feel it. So that's
and fighting locally at the Meadows, it's awesome. Thanks for that. And Frank Luca's our man. You didn't meet him yet, Zach? What a great guy for 50 years in the boxing community. A true legend.
Well, a little behind-the-scenes scoop, we'll touch a little bit here of boxing and Z-Time, is that we couldn't get any of the world champions at 135 pounds, Smoking Jim Frazier, to fight Lightning Rod Soka. They wanted us to come to Venezuela. They wanted us to come to Japan. And I don't know how you feel about that, but if Mike Manning gets robbed on a hometown amateur decision at the Donnybrook here in Pittsburgh, how good do you feel about traveling to Venezuela and fighting a champ in his own town?
Can I answer that question? Can I answer the question? For $250,000, I think Rod can travel.
Pay my traveling expenses, I'd be there.
And if I can answer that question, Levine, we're tired of traveling and not getting the decisions and not getting the belts. So we could stay right here at home, make a couple bucks, fight on May 16th for Frank Luca and company, and wait for one of those world championships fights to be mandatory. Because eventually what happens, Smoking Jim Frazier, is when you posture and you put yourself in a position where you're the mandatory challenger for a belt, then there's no, they can't duck you anymore. Now you're the mandatory challenger. So that's what we're not trying to take any unnecessary losses going to Venezuela and getting robbed. That's a setback. We already went to Brooklyn and fought pound for pound Danny Garcia, a monster at 140 pounds, who's not
Wasn't
even
he like
fighting.
147, Zach? Not to interrupt, but
Yes,
I
sir.
had heard rumors he was 147.
Yes, sir.
He paid the penalty for being over.
Yes, sir. He can no longer make, even though he is a champion, and by one of the major sanctioning bodies at 140 pounds, he can no longer get down Smoking Jim to 140 pounds. He could not do it for the Lightning Rod Soka fight, and that wasn't even a championship title fight. So I look for nothing but big things from Lightning Rod on May 16th. Come on out to the Meadows. Hopefully, Smoking Jim Frazier, myself, and Al Levine. Notice how I named all three of us. We'll get to be in attendance down there at the Meadows. Well, you know, since Lightning Raw's fighting, I'm going to be there anyway, so it doesn't even matter. I already punched my ticket to the Meadows on May 16th.
Then you don't need anybody from Pittsburgh Sportsline. Hey, Frank, I happen to have your number on this. Yeah, no problem, buddy. He texts at his advanced age, too, so we're good.
I like that skill, and he probably got a smartphone, too.
Yeah, he does. He does.
He probably got an iPhone, no, Frank Luca.
Well, you don't know him yet, but he's a pretty savvy guy. So.
And that's pretty much what's on Z Time. I'm sure Al Levine wants to kick it over to Duke's Rib House and Grill on location last night. It was an awesome show. Smoking Jim Frazier delivered one of the best guests that I could even guess. A UConn graduate who played for one of the biggest programs ever.
Yes,
I'll let
sir.
Smoking Jim take it from there.
What happened to Al Levine, the talking machine? I have these segments, folks. I'm actually trying. I'm under strict orders from Dave Cable to try to keep some segments so we don't wander like this. This way, if you have to go to the bathroom, you know a certain segment's coming up, then you can come back. Or if you're getting dessert or you're having your dinner.
They're all done.
No, Chief just texted me. He goes, Z doesn't know everything.
No, the segments are done. You got the trivia, you got the
On
Smoking Jim.
Location is a segment of mine. It's a little one, but you already ran all over it, and the sandbox is a little wet there, so that sand's a little sticky. So we're okay with that. Duke's Rib House and Grill, it was a great crowd, great guests. I mean, we even had a guest that's trying to save your lives when you're at a stadium. And for people that don't know, I said I always end the show by being safe, so tonight I'll mention this. Eric, he wrote 3 books about, remember how when you were a kid, even Smoking Jim can recall, they'd say, don't go into a theater and yell fire. Now with the modern technology, even these phones, you can get a text message. If you ever get a text message at a stadium telling you to evacuate, wait for public address systems to do it. That's how it is. Anything by text, Twitter, any social media is not a legal way to warn you to leave. It's somebody trying to cause trouble. That's what we learned. So later this summer, this gentleman, Eric, had gone to the NFL, the Pirates and everything else, got a little bit of the runaround, and he asked me to try to help him. I said, I'll announce it on my show, but when are you going to get an announcement on a scoreboard? He said, stay tuned for the NFL. So that may happen. We'll have him back. To me, it scares you. Like, what if something happened that, say, a few thousand people decided to leave? Somebody could get hurt or killed. We don't need that type of thing. It's something I never thought about, and who knows? So,
You know, and that's a great point that you bring up, Alan, because I tell you what, in this day and age, people are doing things like this, and I don't understand the thought process behind it, just to create panic and havoc, and people get hurt. And, you know, somebody may think it's funny, but there's not a single thing funny about it, and it could put people's lives at danger, and then it also could put first responders in a position where they're not able to help people. You know,
the
so,
whole system could break.
You know, that's a really good point to bring up.
And I met him on Facebook because he had made comments on this other page that I have, Bucko Pride. So he did mention something there, and I appreciate all the likes on that page. Jim Auger, if you're watching, we're up to 4,374 again. It's not a world's record, but when Facebook changed the rules, those things happen. As you know, your site got hit too, Steel Nation Magazine, as did everybody else. So we're coming back. Thanks again. Now, again, getting back to what Zach gave you a little preview, we had Ashley Battawan, who they know her locally. Smokin' Jim gave one of the greatest promos to her, and for one time that I know on Pittsburgh Sportsline, it was all true. Everything he said was true. She's also the basketball coach for 2 years at Chartiers Valley, and she's such a down-the-earth person for being, you know, WNBA star, first-round draft pick, recruited in 7th grade. I didn't take notes, but she was a great speaker, very articulate, and she had described the whole process because I asked about recruiting, and she went in depth on that. So it's very interesting. We have to watch when that comes out. She's definitely welcome back. She said she would consider that, depending on if Smokin' Jim could give her a better introduction. So he will work on that. But it was just great to have a first-class act. Then we had Stay Joey Strong there. We had Lou Potosi. We got the bracelets. I don't wear a lot of bracelets or any jewelry, and mine was starting to bug me, so it's at home. And thank you. Thanks for that. And there's a concert at the Hard Rock Cafe with Lou singing and his group and a couple others. Only $10 a ticket on April 11th at 8 o'clock. So check that out. It'll be a great event, and it's to help, the Joey, Cancer Foundation and everything else. Cindy Fabus ended up winning. We had a contest because I've been noticing a pattern between Bill Boyce and Smoking Jim Frazier. Now, we're all about Pittsburgh Sportsline. Even Zach, he's busting my chops pretty good with good reason because, he's the young bull that's in the cage there and he's not out yet, so it'll happen. But Smoking Jim takes a lot of these photos, and I was counting 8, 9, 10, 20 photos with him and a young lady. Now, I had an over-under of 10, and I said anybody that can get close to how many photos Smoking Jim has that Bill Boyce takes, and I said, I'm not just talking about it, we'll do it. We'll give away one of our Pittsburgh Sportsline hats, a nice white one with the logo. So lo and behold, Bill Boyce deleted 4 photos that he's never, ever deleted any photos. Chip can vouch for it, so Smoking Jim can, and Zach Brenner definitely knows it because he doesn't even look, and every photo is a great photo. So instead of having like 8 photos where somebody would have, won, they had an 8, there were 2 7s. So anyhow, we had 4 legitimate photos. I witnessed it. We only had 2 people that qualified, Cindy and our super control guy who's always on the ball, who sold more tickets than me. He's just a better salesman with the dollar grill tickets, Devin Shea. Lo and behold, I crumpled him up, put him on the table, and Devin Shea lost that contest. Cindy come up and she won our hat. She was very proud to wear it. She said, with the 2 inches of snow that are outside last night, I'll wear it now. So that's our on location. We'll be at Smokehouse Bar and Grill this Monday. Great guest coming. Mike Mann is the first one to confirm that. We may have Ted, the diet guy, who's the trainer for little Vince there that plays, in the bodybuilding world, who does great. He's one of my heroes to be able to overcome all the surgeries and everything he has. So we may have Vince coming out too if they can arrange it. So we'll see what happens. See you at the Smokehouse Bar and Grill, 7:30 Monday night. And that's on location. And there we go.
Great job.
That was a great segment.
0-0, end of the first.
That's what Devin Shea just said. We got a Penguin update. It's nil, as they say in soccer.
We're going to be starting the second period with 1:32 of a power play. So
can we segue into the Penguins then?
This would be a perfect one. Zach, thanks for deferring to me on that. Yes.
Well,
do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, why not? I'll kick it off.
All right, Segwayer.
0-0, the power outage continues, Al. They can't score goals. The size of Smoking Jim, in case you were wondering, from all the time from the juniors all the way up until now, the size of the net never changes. It's always the same size. The post and the goal is always the same. So the fact to me, though, that you've come this far and you're supposed to be elite and now you can't buy a goal, there's a Russian down in Washington, D.C. that has more goals than Malkin and Crosby combined right now.
Wow.
What's up with that, Smoking Jim?
No, that's incorrect. That's incorrect. Crosby and Malkin have 51 goals combined, and Ovechkin's got 47.
There we go. Who's clapping there?
Might have been a goal scored, or they might be cheering for
We got
I think so. You're still.
We got the control room. There's something wrong. They're all hide up on all that pizza dough and the olive oil from Olive Oil's Pizzeria.
But to speak to what's going on in the NHL, just in general, there has been a power outage league-wide this year.
Has.
And if you look at statistics for most of the top goal scorers, Alex Ovechkin is the leading goal scorer in the league with 47 goals so far. He's on pace to break the 50-goal barrier this year. Probably the only person in the NHL that will. But, even the top scorers in the league, like Steven Stamkos, has got his lowest goal total since he was a rookie. He's another top goal scorer. And Sid Crosby's goal scoring is down. And I personally believe that the wrist that Sid claims to have no injury to, that was never fixed over the summer, has affected his ability to shoot the puck. And he hasn't been shooting the puck a lot. I know we won the game the other night against the Arizona Coyotes. But the game before that, Sid didn't even put a single shot on net the whole game. Right. Now, here's the thing, and I've been critical of him all year, but here's the thing that's messing me up. He's still leading the league in points scored, and he is the top point getter per game in the league. Of course, he's leading the league in assists. But, for as bad of a season as he's having, he still may end up winning the scoring title, which, I'm looking at his performance this year as subpar. But listening to everybody else they're saying he's just having an average season. And I think that speaks to the fact that, if your wrist is hurt, you can't shoot the puck with the authority that you had in the past. And I think that's the reason why he's passing it off and not shooting it as much.
Well, I give him credit for not complaining if he is injured. So, that's a class act there. The other thing, I listen to some other sports talk shows and everything, and I do have to mention Mark Madden. And I usually don't like to mention him, but sometimes he has good guests on that are talking, like Dejan Kovacic. He's on there. DK's great.
Yeah, he is.
And they were talking, I'm a big fan of his because he has similar attitudes to all of us.
Sure.
So when Dejan,
he's an excellent writer.
Yeah,
he's a good guy, too, if you're ever fortunate enough to meet him.
I hope to meet him someday. Maybe he could come on our show since I like all his stuff. But anyhow, my point is, they were talking about Sid's style hasn't really changed. When he goes up on a rush, he does the same thing. Now, everybody scouts everybody in excess. So if you know a guy, Devin Shea's probably texting me. So if a guy has the same style, this is great. WNBA Maine is winning 45 to 10 over Portland. Excellent.
In the WNBA?
Yes.
Yeah, I got that.
They didn't cover, but my point is, when you think about his style, what does he change? Like, he improves certain things because he works on it, but his same rush that he goes up, he goes to either one side or through the center.
He's going to make the same move all the time.
And that's what bothers me, because I kept wondering, Sid, what are you going to do? Shoot? Or, do something else. So it makes me think.
Here's the thing. And when Sid first came into the league, he was real good at scoring, and then he was really bad on faceoffs. So he worked real hard on faceoffs, became the best in the league at faceoffs. And then he was great at putting up assists. Wasn't a great goal scorer. He became a great goal scorer. And in the year that he was having his best season, and he was running away with the scoring title, scoring goals in bushels full, then he got his skull cracked open twice. Okay, and he really hasn't been the same player.
And that neck injury that was terrible.
Since then, and he doesn't attack the net with the same ferocity as he used to. And, and that's fairly evident with the way he's playing. And I can't say that I honestly blame him. Who wouldn't?
But the other teams know, though. That's the thing.
If
you're scouting them each week, sure, he's making some other players better. They're scoring goals. That's good. But we need him to score. That's why he does make the money to score.
And I have been critical of Sid on a number of occasions, and I'm sitting here rethinking that, simply because I look at the Penguins, and I still look at this team now, and I look at them as not playing hockey in May. I honestly believe they're going to get bounced in the first round of the playoffs this year, and I don't really so much fault the star players, even though the star players aren't playing like stars. But that's a thing that's going on league-wide. The thing that I fault is the predicament they're in with the salary cap, that they can't really put much better players in. They've got to bring players up from the AHL, which really aren't ready to play with, and they've been transferring people in and out because of the injuries. There's been no consistency of line play for Sid. Well, he's had different wingers almost every game.
And the injuries. When you lead the league in injuries, what I'm hopeful is the first month of the season. Maybe that was an exception, but they were scoring on power plays and scoring goals that first month.
Right.
So that's what leads me to be optimistic. They'll find that touch in the playoffs. Because hopefully it ignites something. I'm optimistic on it. You guys can say no, but that's where I feel.
There was nothing I would like to see more, but I'm telling you, you watch what's happened. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games. Now, they won their last game. They're playing one of the top teams in the league tonight in the St. Louis Blues. Now they've got 9 games after tonight to get ready for the playoffs, and time's running out. They need to, I'm keep on waiting for them to turn it around, and it's like, okay, when is it going to happen? It needs to happen
But
now.
it might not happen because, Levine, they don't have the horses to make it happen. We've alluded to this over and over again.
Yeah.
Because they've decided with ratio to jam up all of their money in 3 or 4 players. Now we're stuck with dregs for the rest of the team, and we can't get over the hump. We got some of the weakest 3rd and 4th line players in the league that wouldn't be on any other team probably, but we're stuck with these guys because we can't afford to go out and get anybody else. So you pray that they can find a way to score goals, Smelling Jim, but like I told you, the hockey net is the same size. If you can't, you just all of a sudden now you can't score, you can't hit the net now.
Well, one of the things that that Mike Johnson has done tonight that doesn't usually happen in hockey, he's skating 7 defensemen and 11 forwards. Usually you've got 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, and you got your 2 goaltenders. Those are the 20 people you dress for the game. So, they brought up Pouliot.
Yeah, he's
and,
back.
and they had to send him down for 10 days because of salary cap restrictions.
Exactly.
They didn't send him down because of his play, but because of
His
money
play
issues.
was pretty good.
They wanted him up here. They couldn't keep him up here. So that's the legacy of what we're left to pick up with ratio. But Malkin and Hornquist are supposed to be back in the lineup by this weekend. That's the scoring punch that they're going to need, and they need to just start throwing pucks at the net.
Well, hopefully we'll see that.
Crash the net, throw pucks at the net, run into the goalie. Just show me something, some kind of concerted effort to make something happen. Some kind of urgency, Levine. That's the word I'm looking for. Urgency, desperation. Do you want to go home? Do you want to golf in the summertime, or do you want to still be playing for the?
Well, I know they want to play for this coach, unlike last year.
Yeah,
when they hit the tank.
Last year
they all
quit.
went into the tank there, Sonny.
They quit
when you thought they
year.
didn't.
And this year,
they're tanksters.
The cream of the crop in the Eastern Division, Eastern Conference, is the New York Rangers. They're running away with the Eastern Conference title right now.
I hate to say it, but you're correct.
Well, that's all good and great, but it's a 7-game series. Once you get into the playoffs and matchups become a key factor, and hopefully these guys, Malkin and Hornquist, get rested up and get ready for.
They haven't shown it lately, so let's see what happens.
I'm wrong. I hope I'm
Me
wrong.
too.
You can't leave it on. You can't leave it on the flower. The flower can't score goals. So if we keep losing, 2-1, 1-0. I mean, that just makes it look bad on the overall. Not so much on the goalie, but more or less on the lack of offense that's coming up.
There's no doubt. Well, we'll be hopeful. We only got about 6 minutes left. You guys pick a subject if you want to talk about something the next minute or two. Anybody?
I mean, we could humor Chip and Levine's fancy and talk about the Buccos. They lost a game today in the Grapefruit League. Chip,
what time of year is it?
You don't want to know something, not so much with the Buccos because, with spring training, like Alan mentioned. The games, you get ties. I mean, you're playing AAA players, you're playing AA players. You get
players that'll never be in the major leagues.
But, here's some of my observations with some of the moves that were made across Major League Baseball. And there are some teams that have been doormats the last few years that I look for a serious upswing in. One of them is in our division, the Chicago Cubs.
Wow.
They were a doormat, and we whipped them pretty good the last 2 or 3 years. I look for them to be a much improved team. I look Cincinnati to be down, not as competitive as they were with us the last couple of years. Milwaukee's going to be a tough team to fight, and St. Louis, they're there every year. Other teams that I see as improving.
Your excuses together for them.
There is no excuses, Jim. We're going to win. There's nothing.
He already is on record.
There's no excuse. But you look over at the Western Division. Okay, now you had the Dodgers and the Giants, and they're the big dogs over there. But you see what the San Diego Padres did this year. They spent a lot of money in free agency, brought in a lot of talented ball players. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I see the Red Sox being improved. Yes,
Mr.
Jim.
Frazier?
Let me ask a quick question. I hate to.
He's on a
change the
roll,
subject,
but go ahead.
But I know you play fantasy baseball. And would you pick up Alex Rodriguez this year?
Not a chance.
He's been banging the ball.
No, you know what? No, actually, not Jim. I think he's just going to be.
He might not make it for the season.
You know,
he might fall
and hit
apart.
a home run.
Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah, to the Pirates need at first base.
And he's pitching. He's batting against Double-A and Single-A pitchers.
Let's bring him in.
He's going to be. He'll be a disappointment as always. But
I think he's going to be a designated hitter.
It's funny that
think he's gonna do a great
Pastoroni
thing.
gave the Pirates and the Seattle Mariners
What's he
as
on?
the World Series.
What's he on?
Well, do you know who's the manager of the Seattle Mariners?
Lloyd McClendon.
Lloyd McClendon, the former Pirates manager.
Really?
Yes, and he's done a real nice job over there in Seattle. So, there's a lot of things to look for in baseball this year. The improvements. The Houston Astros are going to be
That's
a
amazing.
much improved team, and they looked as bad 2 years ago as the Pirates did in 2010. Now, 2010 wasn't that long.
They look like a minor league team.
2010 was not that long ago, and the Pirates had only won 57 games that year. And believe me, I know, because I saw them win 3 of the 15 games I went to go see that year.
Wow.
Okay? So, it takes a little time. Things can
So,
be turned around,
the good
and the
news-
Pirates have shown the blueprint
Yeah.
through the
They have a blueprint.
There is
through
a
the
blueprint.
organization.
And the good news is, folks, now when you go down to PNC Park and you take in that lovely stadium and that lovely view, there's actually a team that can put up a fight against the other teams coming into our city. So
Good point.
that's
Hey, Jack.
always a positive.
Newsflash, that's been
That's
since
always a
2013.
positive. That's always a positive.
Really?
Yeah, we've actually
Had winning seasons.
But the New York Mets is another team that I look to be on the upswing, and the surprise team out of the National League that'll be fighting the Atlanta Braves this year, Miami Marlins. They say that the best outfield in baseball this year is right here in Pittsburgh. The second best outfield is the Miami Marlins with Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah.
And the other kid that they just decided, they've got a nice 3 outfielders, but they say by far our outfield is the fastest outfield in baseball this year.
I just hope, Levine, that we're still relevant at the All-Star break.
Well,
I believe we will. I'll take all bets on that.
They said Miami's getting ready to pick up another player in about another hour.
What's that, your
He's
compute?
from
He's
Cuban
floating
Cuban
in,
connection?
He's floating in from
How did I guess?
I got the same message for LinkedIn. For LinkedIn, Levine.
You know why? That's the sandbox. The sandbox is on the same thing. I knew that 3 days ago.
Speaking of Cuban
And a
imports,
bathtub.
speaking of
Pedro
Cuban imports,
keeps
Sometimes
the Los Angeles
Pedro.
Dodgers just picked up another ball player from Cuba today for $67 million. They're paying him a $28 million signing bonus. He's a second baseman. Watch for him this year.
And he kept his bathtub that he rode across him. They do that. It
You know, Levine,
happens.
they say fat's buoyant. So if you have any, if you got a little bit of fat, not all muscle.
Well, I want to throw you out in a shark-infested ocean. It's between Cuba and Florida.
It's
Okay,
not that far. It's only what 60
90
miles.
miles, and there's sharks. 90.
Wow.
Go Google it.
Wow.
You can Google that.
I'll make it. I'm a survivor.
I don't know.
So that was not ready for me, Levine.
That's okay. He's not ready for
They'll send me
anything.
back.
They're feeding him applesauce right now.
Really?
Yeah. Well, he's not the same
His
Fidel.
brother's in charge.
Yeah, that's why they're feeding him applesauce. He can't eat anything else. But we're done with the show. Thanks for the sports. Z, what else do you got going on? I heard you got some practice and tryouts for the Pittsburgh Gladiators football team.
Yes, we do. This Saturday at 12 noon behind Woody High, Woodland Hills High School, Smoking Jim Fraser. We're going to have some 7-on-7s taking place, so I look forward to mixing it up once again this weekend and cutting some players.
Well, thanks, Zach. Smoking Jim, what else? We're almost out of time. Were you gonna? No, never mind. You won't tell us the truth. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Thanks, Chip the Prophet Hayner, for being on the show. Smoking Jim Fraser, thanks as usual for your powerful opening segment. Zach Brenner, thanks for all that you do, and I don't always mention your name, and I still respect all that you've done here, and that's a nice-looking Gladiators hat.
Thank you.
And where's those Pittsburgh Sportsline baseball hats? Thanks, everybody, for watching the show. Be safe. Stay Joey strong.